Thank you very much, Brian. You're way too kind. In fact, there's a lot of the stuff that you shared, Brian. You kind of took my thunder here, so. But I would just like to say a few thank yous first, and then go on to what I would like to share tonight. First, I'd like to thank you, Brian. I'd like to thank you because you are providing the vehicle that allows all of these fine racers to go out and showcase their talents. And it also allows us as spectators and fans to come and enjoy. And every time I get to a race, Roger smiles. So thank you for your staff. Scott, you're just you just make me feel so welcome when I show up at the races, so thank you for that. Then I'd like to thank the racers here tonight. That's who I'm going to talk about tonight, and racers are heroes to Roger, because that's what I'll share later, that I get such an enjoyment watching. It doesn't make no difference what brand is on. I get such enjoyment watching someone that goes out and makes tracks and enjoys what he's doing. He wants to make a difference. And you know, some of these racers are going to turn out to be, they're going to be inventors. They're probably going to have their names on patents, because these racers have a unique skill that other people don't have. So they know how to read a snowmobile. So thank you to the racers, thank you to the support, all the mechanics and teams that come to put the show on. Thank you for families and friends. It was, as Brian said here, it's just great to see families racing, and he shared a bunch of them. It's an honor for me to be here tonight, and I'm rather humbled, but I could think of no better place to be this evening than hanging out with racers and friends. Here's what I'd like to start with, is that to Roger, all you snowmobile racers are special. You're uniquely gifted individuals. You are all heroes. You are the real deal to Roger. And that comes from my heart. That's what I want to share tonight. I'm an addict. Now, how is that for coming out of the closet? Huh? Don't worry. I'm addicted to snowmobile racing. My addiction started in 1964 at age 19, when Edgar Teen took me racing at the first Eagle River Derby in Wisconsin. That addiction has continued and has gotten stronger over 56 years. Somebody told me that addictions can only be kicked if you want to. I don't want to. I remember snowmobile racing when snowmobiles had 0 inches of suspension. They had 8 horsepower Kohler engines. They could reach a mere 30 miles per hour. Not fast enough to get air on any bump. Moving forward, I have been a part of and watched snowmobiles evolve to what you are racing today, with 10 to 12 inches of suspension, 120 horsepower engines that exceed 100 miles per hour, getting big air to 2 to 3 foot bumps. That right, Wesley? During this 56-year evolution, my passion and desire to compete and win has only gotten stronger. Today, my addiction and strong appreciation for racers is one of a spectator and a fan. Whenever there is a snowmobile race, I impress upon Mike, please take me with. So, thank you, Mike. I got some thoughts on snowmobile racing that I would like to share. I strongly believe that snowmobile racing drives snowmobile evolution because it uncovers desires and needs of the racer. And here I'd like to tell you a story. It goes back to I guess it was probably 1965. I was working for Arctic Cat and had the opportunity to go to Roseau and race in the Roseau snowmobile it was called. And my snowmobile was a 1965 141 Deluxe, zero suspension, but hey, I had a trick in that snowmobile. It used to come with an 8 horsepower Kohler, and I'd gotten my hands on a 300 Hertz engine. And well, I thought this is good, you know, because it was fast. And the race was about 7 miles long. We took off the fairgrounds and we crossed the river and we went up toward the border of Canada. I think the lap was about 7 miles. We made it 3 or 4 times, I guess, but I believe I fell off at least a half a dozen times in each lap. And what I learned from that was there needed to be something different done to the snowmobile. That snowmobile was good for 8 horsepower, but it would not handle the 18 or 19 horsepower, mind you, of that Hertz engine. And the reason I'm telling this story is that this is what drives snowmobile evolution. It made me go home, it made me want to change the snowmobile. And we went home and decided to put bias suspension on the rear rail on the skid frame, took the motor off of the tunnel and stuck it in front of the track shaft, put on some leaf springs on the skis, and that vehicle turned into what became known as the Arctic Panther, which was a very successful snowmobile. And I share that because that's what racers do. That's what you guys do. You can read a snowmobile, you can feel it, your arms tell you you're doing something wrong, your butt tells you you're doing something wrong, even the sound of it tells you you're doing something wrong. So you don't stop there. As a racer, you say, what if I did this? What would happen if I'd done this? And that is what evolves the snowmobile. And so that's why I have such a strong appreciation for all snowmobile racers. Got some thoughts on snowmobile racing. It's accelerated the evolution of the snowmobile more than I think it gets credit for. The urgency of improvement and the need for constant improvement in order to win drives this evolution. My friend Russ Ebert, which probably a lot of you know, explains it this way. When you are racing, you get a report card every weekend. So, if you don't like your report card, you do something about it. I can think of many designs that have come through racing. Snowmobile designs. I know more about Polaris snowmobiles and Arctic snowmobiles, of course, but I can think of trailing arm independent front suspension on Polaris Indy, A-frame front suspension on the Arctic ZR, coupled rear suspension on the Polaris Indy, torque sensing links on the Arctic ZR, and it just goes on and on. Snowmobile racing has and continues to play a huge role in our snowmobiles and our sport. Snowmobile racing also allows companies to showcase their brand and compare. What brand is the one to beat? We all watch this and we all do our part in trying to make the brand that we are working for be the one to beat. I'd like to share some more about the snowmobile racers, which every one of you here are, racers that are here. I've got the strongest appreciation for you snowmobile racers because of your unique seat of the pants abilities to ride an evaluated snowmobile, find areas of potential and desired improvement, and you don't stop there. You have the know-how of what to change to realize an improvement. And this is big. That's what evolves the snowmobile. So hats off to all you snowmobile racers. Some of the things that I see in snowmobile racers, you can feel the snowmobile. You're fiercely competitive. You are mechanically inclined. You have the strongest desire to win. You get a rush running on the edge, but not over. Sometimes it goes over. You are never satisfied. You are always testing and can see opportunities to improve. You are innovators, inventors. And I personally know racers who turned into engineers who have patents. You're driven to make tracks, literally and figuratively. You realize, this is key here, you realize when you stop improvement that you just got what? You just got passed. You play a significant role in the creation of the next generation snowmobile. And here's where I'd like to share a story about Brian Nelson. Brian owns the USXC here. Brian used to work for, he raced for Arctic Cat. And I guess Brian must have been in the late, or the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And Arctic Cat at that time was trying to race a Prowler Special snowmobile, which as a racer, Brian Nelson could see some opportunities that he would like to change. Why was he able to do that? Because he had been a racer. His seat of the pants ability he had and his understanding of snowmobiles was keen, and he surrounded himself with Hubert Fixon and some other guys from Arctic, worked with Kevin Thompson and David Thompson and Larry Coldham, and decided that ergonomics needed to be changed, suspension needed to be changed, braking needed to be changed. Went back and built a prototype and qualified it to meet what he thought was a good race sled. And that snowmobile turned into be Arctic Cat ZR, which was a very known winning snowmobile. So thank you, Brian, for that passion and your desire to win. I'd like to say that I enjoy watching all racers. And they're the red, yellow, blue, green. I enjoy cheering everyone on from start to finish. When it comes to filling the podiums, I must be a little honest with you here and confess that I do have a slight attraction to green. You gotta forgive me for that. However, If the podium is not green, I am just fine and very happy to congratulate the winners because they have paid the price to win. I'd like to share some of the things that I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for snowmobile pioneers, David Johnson, Alan Ateen, Edgar Ateen. I feel so blessed that their vision, the vision that they had that allowed us to have snowmobiles, that probably without that vision we may not have been racing. So I'm thankful that God placed me and allowed me to make my livelihood working on snowmobiles and snowmobile racing with the best people you could ever ask for. I was riding down the road the other day with my wife, and I was thinking about, I told her, take out your notebook, and I said, write down all of these names. And I started thinking about racers in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and on up through 2019. And it's unbelievable. I think we got up to 45, 50 racers. You know, starting with the Cormicans and the Jensens and going on into the Thompsons and the Coltons and the Loftons and into the Peaks and the Hibberts and on and on and on until we got up to the racers we're seeing today, the Herpendals and the Selfies and so on. And I can't say how much thankful I am because of these folks, and a lot of them have turned into engineers and made contributions to the snowmobile industry. There's decades of them. I'm thankful for great friendships established through racing. I'm thankful for family that supported my racing addiction. And here's what I'd like to introduce Bernice. Bernice, she's been supportive of me for 50-some years. She raised my children when I was gone every weekend. And so, Bernice, stand up so everybody can see what a supportive wife looks like. I'm thankful for inspiration. Brian talked on it here a little bit. It's so inspiring for me to see. When I drove into the pits yesterday, the first thing I did is I almost drove over the legs of Joey Hallstrom. He's laying on the ground, pulling up the front arm on Jesse's snowmobile. And I said to myself, that's my guys. That's the kind of guys that make a difference. So, I'm thankful for that, what I see in snowmobile racing. I think of you, Alex. I can't imagine how happy Alan would be to see what you're doing. So, those are the inspirations that I get when I go to races. Seeing Andy run, Brad and Jane there cheering him on and wondering what happened to him up there. You know, so thank you to everyone that gives Roger those inspirations and joys. I was thinking of some life lessons learned. Snowmobile racing has been my life, and I couldn't have. Edgar, he didn't give me a job in 1962. He gave me a life, and I couldn't be happier for that. Some of the lessons that I learned that I got from Edgar, I want to share one of them. And it is that everybody in life wants to be loved and appreciated. And the reason I say that is that when I went to work for Edgar, I worked for about a year, and then he found out that I'd had 1 year of engineering school, so he asked me to help him with building pieces when he was creating new snowmobiles. And we didn't have drafting tables, we didn't have CAD stations. Edgar had a piece of chalk in his hand and a cement floor, and he'd scratch out, "Roger, here's what I'm thinking about. Can you make this piece for me?" It might have been a sheet metal piece, it might have been a machine piece. He'd scratch it out on the floor, and I'd look at it and I'd say, I think I know what you're talking about. And I'd go ahead and I'd make that piece. And two things would happen. One, it was right. It was what he had in his head, and they'd give me a pat on the back. The other thing that happened was that it was not right. It was not what he had in his head. And he didn't say, "Roger, you dumb little 19-year-old kid, this isn't what I wanted, why'd you do it this way?" Edgar would look at me and he'd smile. And he'd say, "Roger, what do you think of this idea?" And I would have to make that thing over again. And that lesson he taught me, I would work all night to make that piece. I'd work for nothing, because this was the inspiration that he imparted into me. It became a model, a leadership model that I have used with engineering team for 50-some years. Everybody in life wants to be loved and appreciated. And you racers are loved and appreciated. It's about what I wanted to share tonight. How about a little time for some interactive questions? Are you up for that? Racers? Here's one. Why do you race? Brian, why did you race? Say it again. You wanted to win. Bunky, Taylor, where are you? Why do you race?
Passion.
Pardon? Passion. Right. Wesley, why do you race? To win. You're right. Why do you want to win?
Feels good.
What? You get paid. No, not enough. Why do you want to win? It makes you feel good. Right? Racers have earned the right to feel good, because they have prepared themselves. They prepared themselves physically, they prepared themselves mentally. They've cultivated the talents they've been given. Remember that unique quality that a racer has, his ability to see, feel what his snowmobile's doing. He's cultivated that. They've practiced, they've understood their snowmobile in and out, they've utilized their abilities, and they can never stand still. Here's another question that I kind of thought about as I was thinking about racing. I used to race a little bit. I wasn't a Christensen or a Herfindahl or Banquet or whatever. But there was one thing that was always on my mind when I went to the starting line, and I'd like to share that. What's on your guys' mind when you go to the starting line? Anybody? No. What? What do you think about when you go to the starting line?
Get to the first corner first.
I didn't hear it.
Get to the first corner first.
Good idea. Good idea. Get to the fourth corner first. You know, here's what I was thinking about when I would go racing. And like I said, I didn't race for many years, but I used to race a 295 Puma, a 340 Saks Puma, Panthers. When I went to the starting line, I felt that I was going to win. The fact is, I kind of knew I was going to win. And that confidence comes from the work that you put in. And I think all of you as racers can relate to that. You guys put your heart and soul into racing because you want to win and because winning makes you feel good. And you deserve the right to feel good. I was going to tell you some stories about Roger racing, but I don't know. Are you up for one story? One story?
Just one.
This one? This is in West Yellowstone in about 69, 68, 69. Charlie Lofton era. I was raising a panther, Charlie was raising a panther. We had pulled the fans off and made them free air so they were faster. Back when Panthers had slide wheel suspensions and other brands had boogie wheels, and it was kind of good to run a Panther because it would win. And Charlie and I were leading the race. Charlie was ahead of me, and all of a sudden I come around and Charlie's sitting by his snowmobile. His snowmobile seized up, stuck. And I go by him the first time, and I look back, and I'm looking for motor skis, I'm looking for skidoos and so on, and I don't see anything. So when I come around, I said, "Get on, Charlie." So he got on and rode with Roger for one lap. Because with his added weight, in a lap, I look back, and here they coming. They were right on us. And I said, "Charlie, see ya." And I pushed him out. So I went and finished the race, and then we had to go back and pick up Charlie. I got one other thing I'd like to share, and then I'd close. I have such a burning in my heart when the snowmobile fails and lets the rider down. Zach, you know what I'm talking about? Broken bells, blowing bells. Maybe a bolt in the skid frame broke. But something in me makes me take that personal because snowmobiles are not supposed to break down. They're mechanical, but if you're prepared for the race, they are not supposed to break down. So, sorry guys, when your snowmobile breaks. Couple things in closing here. I talked about the unique gift that all of you racers have, the ability to ride your snowmobile. Decide, I like this, I don't like this, and I don't stop there. I know what I'm gonna do to fix it. So cultivate that unique gift, and you'll only get better. Plan for next year now, set goals, stay hungry, make tracks. Here's a good one. Bring a friend with you next year. Bring your cousin, bring your brother, bring your sister, bring the neighbor. They'll never be able to thank you enough. So grow the sport, bring a friend, and have fun. Thank you very much.